Have you ever wondered what would happen if a simple act of generosity turned into the biggest heartbreak of someone's life? Stay with me till the end, because this story will change the way you look at kindness, love, and sacrifice forever. And before we dive in, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to Kindness Hub for more stories that touch the heart and inspire the soul, because what you're about to hear will make you question everything you thought you knew about people. It all began in a grand mansion that belonged to Richard, a self-made millionaire who had built his empire brick by brick, through hard work, determination, and a stubborn belief that one day his struggles would pay off. On the surface, Richard seemed to have it all: luxury cars, elegant suits, a vast mansion with polished marble floors and glittering chandeliers, and a life most could only dream of. But beneath all that wealth, he carried a loneliness that money could never cure. His wife had passed away years ago, leaving him with no children, no family to return home to, and no warm smile waiting at the door. The silence in his mansion was deafening, except for the quiet presence of Maria, his maid. Maria was a humble woman in her early 30s who had worked for Richard for over 5 years. She wasn't just a maid, she was a confidant, a listener, and sometimes the only reason Richard felt human. She always had a gentle smile, even though her eyes carried stories of hardship that she rarely spoke of. She was respectful, dedicated, and grateful for the job, but Richard had always sensed that beneath her composed exterior was a heart aching with silent burdens. One evening, as Richard sat in his study looking at old photographs of his late wife, Maria entered the room to bring him tea. Her hands trembled slightly as she placed the cup on the table, and Richard noticed the sadness in her eyes. He asked if she was all right, but she simply nodded with a forced smile, insisting everything was fine. Yet something told him otherwise. For days, he noticed her distracted, lost in thought, her usual energy dimmed by an invisible weight. One rainy afternoon, while Richard was preparing to leave for a business meeting, he saw Maria sitting by the window with tears streaming down her face, clutching a worn photograph in her hands. Without hesitation, he walked over and gently asked her what was wrong. At first, she shook her head, but eventually, the truth spilled out: her young son was gravely ill. Maria had kept it hidden for months, working silently while carrying this unbearable burden. She explained that the boy suffered from a rare condition and the treatment was far too expensive for her meager salary. Every night she worked late, every day she smiled through her pain, all while knowing her child's life was slipping away. Hearing this shattered Richard's heart. For the first time in years, he felt the same helplessness he had felt when his wife was sick, and he